So we'll have something to refresh our memories. So again, happy Thursday. Glad you guys could join us on this October 8th. Appreciate you jumping on for this hour. Uh, got some more things to give you on the financial side. And then
Yeah.
next week, Ria's going to move us into social media, marketing, whatever you want to call it, that other important piece so that people get a chance to know who you are. So we're gonna do that. So for tonight, just kind of some. I always take notes so I don't forget anything. Tonight, just want to make sure, uh, definitely, you guys are using the platform to set up meetings and stuff. So we really appreciate that. If you still have some live plan work to do, please do that. And then also, if you need to meet with any of us, please schedule those times so we can chat with you. So make sure you're doing that. Today in the content library, I actually, let me see, let me share my screen. I actually added in the content library, there was a presentation today by eBay, and so eBay was actually showing people how to sell online, particularly if you don't do it. So they shared a presentation. So I actually went and they sent me an email. So I'm gonna see if I can go to content library. So I put it in the content library here, and you have to scroll down. Here it is, eBay sellers presentation. So if you want to see that presentation, here's the link, the URL link. You have to register, and once you register, I think they just need your name. Then it'll download the presentation so you can see what they did today. So they did a live stream today. Don't forget
Well,
that
super.
Google is also doing something, and I
Yes.
think we're kind of hanging out with Google as a Google
Yes,
partner,
ma'am.
and they're doing, I think, selling holiday. They're doing something as it relates to sell online this holiday season and some e-commerce tools. So that's happening on the 14th. As I get the link for that, then we will share that with you so that you can jump on the 14th to see that. It's going to be a live streaming presentation, and they do it every year. I've attended one of them at one time, and it's really good information on how to sell online, how to prepare to market using Google. So hopefully that's some helpful information. So go through the content library. I'm always finding new stuff and posting stuff. So make sure you don't miss out on that, particularly with the holiday season. You want to make sure that you know how to market. What I want to do, and I'm going to share my screen, I want to show you this video. It was very interesting. I got it from Google, but hopefully I'm going to make sure that my setup is right. Make sure my Wi-Fi is right. Hold on 1 second. I'm in the right area, so I get the best stream, best Wi-Fi. Okay, I think it's doing something for me. Yeah. Okay, now I'm all set up. Okay, so I want to just look at this video. It was very inspiring. I'm going to show another one next week. Very inspiring. It's saying my internet is unstable, but hopefully it'll play through this. That I'm gonna try. I might have to make the screen smaller, but I'm gonna play this video, so hopefully you can hear it. Hold on a second. Let me go back. And these are local business owners now, but I like their story. It might not let me do it because it's streaming. Whoops. Hold on. Okay. So I just wanted to share that there's some more actual videos that Google has. And I think you can kind of go to Google and actually just search success stories or videos or something. And there's a whole bunch of them in there. I'll play another one next week of a young lady that started a training program for education program. So as I'm finding people that are kind of close or
Maria, you may want to put the link
Yeah.
in there. I don't know. I wasn't able to hear it and it was choppy. So I don't know if anybody else was able to take advantage of it.
No, I couldn't hear anything either.
Okay. All right. So I'll share let me pull up, see if I can share the link. And it was probably, my streaming is low tonight. So that might be one reason why it actually did not pull up for me, but it's actually, I think it's Google. I just did a search on Google success stories. And when I did a search on Google success stories, it actually took me, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I clicked here, Google success stories. Nope, didn't do that. I'll find the link and actually send it to you guys so you can hear it. But I think it might be because we're Google partners that we can go into this and here. I think these are the success stories, so I pulled them up through here through Google. So, but I'll send you guys the videos. There's a whole bunch of them, so that you can see it. Okay, but just a really interesting story. You know, basically the concept was two young men that was trying to figure out a business, sitting there drinking coffee and tea, and that's how they came up with this coffee business. And since then, what Google was doing was promoting the Black-owned business symbol. So now in Google, you can put the symbol Black-owned business, and when they did that, people that were wanting to support Black-owned businesses start requesting orders because they put that symbol on their Google page, and really causing them to have a large growth in business, and having them to get a new facility. So I'll be sharing that. I'll share the link with you so that you can see the videos. But I thought that was a very inspiring story of two young men that did not understand coffee, but actually now are doing really well. So That's all I have for right now. Ray, if you want to tell me what to do as far as the case study stuff, and we can go from there.
We can. Well, let me ask those that are on the line if they have any questions with respect to what we talked about on Tuesday. You know, the case study we talked about on Tuesday, you know, had to do with the barbecue expansion. Okay, and the previous work program that we had to do with daycare center. Okay, and so both of these case studies are really meant to give you reference points. Okay, because what we're trying to get across is how we can pivot out of where we're at to overcome any roadblocks that are causing us problems with respect to COVID. And then, and also not just overcome them, but there might be some opportunities because of COVID that Tamara talked about last Tuesday as well, with respect to production, music coordination with people that are putting on virtual events. Okay, so let me just stop and ask if there's any questions with respect to the case studies or any of the discussion that we had on Tuesday. I thought it was very good on Tuesday, the discussion we had in terms of understanding the opportunities, you know, to use the data that represents your here and now activities, and then use that as a base to form your projections based upon the assumptions that are relevant for your circumstances. Okay, so let me ask again. Any questions? Just go ahead. Just get off mute and just shout it out. Or if you want to, you can put it on chat. I don't know if there's anyone.
So this is Rodney. So I like a lot of times when you're doing business plans and projections, they're based on total assumptions. And what I like about the case studies, you say the here and now,
Yes.
those are actual factuals where you can better forecast, you know, as opposed to just coming up with some numbers, you know, that may be totally off base once you get started. So I really like both of those case studies. And I'm still, the one on the food, I understand pretty well. The one that I want to really go back and kind of finish the exercise is the daycare, because it's a little more complex, and I want to get that under my fingers.
Yeah, the one with the daycare is more complicated, but the thing of it is, both of these case studies are complicated with respect to that they have many different product elements. Okay, like for the daycare, you know, there's different rates based upon the ages of the children. Okay, and what you get compensated for from DCFS as a daycare provider. You know, with the barbecue expanding to something that's really more of an expansion in a CTA kind of point of view. You're looking at a lot of different menu items. Okay. And when I was working on this with a client, you know, the difficulty was that there wasn't good data on the actual things that were sold. There was good data on the money with respect to the prices, okay, and there was you could figure out the margins. But you know, you got to remember, this isn't just about the money. It's what's selling versus what's not selling. In other words, if you don't know what's selling, you know, you could be missing the opportunity to emphasize on what's selling versus trying to just, you know, kind of trying to do too much and offer too many things that aren't really getting you anywhere. So I think that's a good point, and I know we'll have a chance to talk in person to, you know, to try to figure out the best approach to take with respect to the projections. But I firmly believe understanding the here and now is really important, because you want to have the best data you can have to do your projections. You don't want to just throw numbers out there, because then, you know, you don't have a basis for explaining the reality of the numbers. And when you're talking about the here and now, that is reality, right? So you know, that to me is a great starting point. So thanks for your question and your comments. Anyone else like to offer anything? Because I know we're going to go through a PowerPoint, but I wanted to just to kind of air out you know, the conversation we had on Tuesday, and then also to, you know, see if there's anything else that anyone has questions about outside of the case studies. The case studies is just to provide you with reference points, okay? And you don't have to memorize them. They're there for your use, to think about analogies that could be relevant for you, okay? Anyone else have an additional comment or question? Okay, so Tamara,
Yep.
with respect to the video that you were showing about the two guys in their coffee venture.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that, you know, we've done some work with respect to independent coffee houses in Chicago. And one of the things that's relevant for anyone who wants to think about an opportunity in a small business, with respect to coffee houses, independent coffee houses, they don't have they typically do not you know, roast their own coffee, okay? So they're buying coffee from a supplier that's giving them roasted coffee. They grind it, okay, and then obviously they serve it, but they don't roast it, okay? And there's a huge difference between the price of green coffee and the price of roasted coffee. I mean, a huge, huge difference, okay? So if you could form a co-op among the independent coffee houses to give them the capacity to get, you know, to do roasting, you know, to get a roasting activity going on in Chicago for them, like a co-op, it would be beneficial to them with respect to price points a great deal. And there's actually companies that sell, in fact, if you wanted to have a coffee house that would roasting their own coffee, there are places in California where they can send you kind of a roaster that you can rent and do that in the basics of the fundamental analysis is, at the end of the day, you're going to be saving a lot more money using that roaster that you're renting from outfits in California versus, you know, buying it wholesale already roasted. Because wholesale already roasted you'd be surprised how much that margin is between green coffee and roasted coffee. It's huge. So when you guys get a chance to look at the video that Tamara had with respect to the two guys roasting coffee, you know, if you're interested, I'd be glad to talk to you more about trying to think about this whole activity of co-ops, because I think that there's plenty of things that Black entrepreneurs can do to help each other out through co-ops, and that advantage is not taken with enough enough coordination so that people can really, you know, get momentum going with respect to that, because in essence, it's hard to start a business by yourself, but if you can have some contacts that can help you, and you guys can coordinate to get better pricing on inventory and things like that, it can make a huge difference.
I was a volunteer, or still am a volunteer with Naomi Davis and Blacks and Green. And so we had a session on co-ops. So I got connected with Eric Rodriguez, who has a fair trade. He got a fair trade award, and he's using co-ops for like South American immigrants to help them with their papers and get work. And so we hung out with him. I went to his co-op, learning how to build a co-op, and we visited his shop, his coffee road, and he went through the whole process. And I forgot all about that. But one of my friends that we went to we attended Naomi's class, we were actually thinking about doing a coffee road. So this is amazing. I have all those notes in my head. So I want to talk to you about that. That might be an opportunity.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about it, because in essence, it's something that I wish someone would take the time and energy to talk to the independent coffee houses. God created Google for a reason, okay? And so all you got to do is spend a little time and figure out, I used to have this information in my mind. I don't anymore, but there's statistics. There are sites that can tell you how many independent coffee houses there are in Chicago, and who they are, where they're located, and everything else. And so you can do some pitches and maybe seeing where it can go. But you should try to get your ducks in order with respect to the proof of concept. In other words, what are the options? How much is it going to cost to have a roasting facility? And how are you going to arrange for the price? You got to do some. You need to do some research. But I think it's a great opportunity. I really do.
And Eric actually offers his space at an hourly fee or whatever. So I wouldn't have to build if I wanted to do such a thing. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I wouldn't have to get all that equipment. I could work it out with him and do my roasting there.
Right?
Yeah. So in essence, he's kind of acting as a co-op facilitator right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. All right. So for the next 30 minutes or so, or a little less, hopefully everybody's gotten their industry reports. If you did not get an industry report, put in the text that you would like an industry report and tell me what industries you are interested in looking at, and I can get those industry reports to you. So some of you was on the line Tuesday or requested it. And so hopefully you have reports that you can now read through and see what's going on with the industry and the growth of the industry. So if you need an industry report, put it in the text message, tell me what industry you need a report on, and I'll get that to you tomorrow. So now in our Trusted Peer, our platform, you'll see something in our list. It's called Financial Forecasting PowerPoint. So that's what I'm gonna share on the screen, and I'm gonna just go through this. It's a kind of a lot of information, but hopefully it's enough for an interview, enough for a review, and then for you to actually open it up and look at it a little bit more in detail. The whole purpose of it is to kind of give you an idea of how to do a financial forecast. So like I said, I'm not going to do a whole bunch, but I do want to kind of share my screen. Hopefully this is big enough for you. If not, I'll put it on the slideshow. Maybe that'll be big enough for you. So we're using, making an assumption. Our product is the cupcake shop. And you can see the lovely cupcake over in the corner. So the first thing is this company wants to make an assumption. And the assumption is just like kind of probably what the coffee guys did, and probably what you should be doing, either with somebody else just to kind of throw off ideas, or either trying to figure out yourself. They made some assumptions first. And so those assumptions are pretty much, what do I want to see at the end of the year, at the end of 3 months, 6 months, whatever. So in this particular case, within a year's time, the cupcake shop is just opening up. and this is their assumptions. So one assumption is that they want to make a profit of $5 for every cupcake they sell. So that's, you got a marker there, profit of $5. So it's profit. It's not break even. They want $5 after they made the cupcake, sold the cupcake, and they have $5 profit, okay? Then they want, before your business doors open, they know that you gotta buy an oven, you gotta buy supplies, and you gotta buy some initial ingredients. So that's a cost, you know, you'll have to put down eventually. You anticipate that for every existing customer, you will gain 2 more new customers next month. So that's an assumption. And so that has to go into your assumptions that for 1 customer, you're going to get 2 more. So that means there's some kind of marketing campaign or something that they're going to have to do in order to get 2 more customers the following month. And then your goal is to hire your first employee by month 6. So that's another assumption. And these are just assumptions. Just wrote them out. This is what I want. This is what I got to do. No spreadsheets, no charts, no Excel, no nothing. It's just sitting down and writing out assumptions, okay? And then another one of the goals is to rent a shop space for the shop for the next 2 years. So they want to rent for the first 2 years, but then the plan is to then produce enough cupcakes. So the cupcakes is going to pay for, then what they want is to buy a facility for $500,000 sometime in year 3. Okay, so these are assumptions. There's no spreadsheets right now. It's just they sat down and this is what they want to do. Okay, so that's how you can start, just writing down. Don't worry about Excel spreadsheets and all that. What do you want? How much do you have to spend? What products you need up front? What is your goal if you're going to hire people? When? And then are you going to rent for a couple of years? Have the cupcake sales to really go toward plan for the facility? And then by the time your 3rd year comes, you'll have enough money to actually buy your own facility and you won't have to rent anymore. So that's all this is. These are just bullet points of assumptions. So the next thing is, and this is what we've been doing, you got to research your competition. Sometimes actually looking at the competition and where their gross margins are and their financials helps you to be able to then kind of get a guide of maybe where you should be. You're either small, that you're underneath them, or you're big as they are, or you're in the middle. But you need to do that competition. You need to do that industry research so that you kind of know when you're making these assumptions where you get a little closer to some real numbers, okay? So then there are various assumption versions. So one is aggressive. So this forecast reflects your business success exceeding your expectations. For example, you say you rationally assume that your sales will grow by 10% each month. And in your aggressive forecast, you would have sales growing more, maybe growing at 20%. So this is aggressive, meaning that normally you're going to grow about 10. But if you're making an aggressive assumption, you're actually going to grow 20. So that's an aggressive, meaning that you're doubling what you normally do. Then there's a moderate assumption, and that's this forecast will reflect your rational predictions. For example, if you rationally predict 10 sales growth, then the forecast is going to be 10. So basically that's moderate. You got 10% sales growth, you're going to do 10%. Not aggressive, just right there at the number that you know you're going to make. And then the next one is conservative. So this forecast reflects your business falling short of your expectations. For example, if you rationally predict 10% sales growth, this forecast will reflect sales growing at 5% or maybe less. So this is more conservative, meaning that there's an assumption that, hey, if COVID happens and I normally make 10, but now because of COVID and I got to close my cupcake shop, that now I got to pivot my business, sell online, and I'm probably not going to do as well selling online. So I'm going to make an assumption that now I'm only going to get 5% instead of my 10 or get less. So these are assumptions, versions that you write out, so that then if anything happens, you can say, oh, wow, I'm at the conservative point. So that then you can look at those assumptions and say, you know what? I got to back down my numbers because I'm only making 5% compared to my 10. Projections, assumptions, this is what you need to have already. It doesn't have to be publicized, but it needs to be in your portfolio so that if anything happens, you can make the change because you've already written out the assumptions. So once you start doing that, now you can kind of pull out Excel spreadsheet and start taking your assumptions that are written in language and now actually putting it so you can visually see the numbers. So you already know that you have one-time expenses. So that's an Excel spreadsheet or just a table. This is not even Excel. I made a table in Word. And so what are my one-time expenses? So that's office furniture, stuff that you're going to buy and you won't have to buy it anymore, a microwave, a TV, a bed, a keyboard, whatever it is that one-time expense, the dollar amount, and you set the date of when you're going to buy it or either when you bought it, okay? So you would create a one-time expense sheet. Then variable expenses, so this is like packaging. So packaging changes, it might be $3 today, tomorrow it might be $2.50, $2.75. So it's variable, it changes. So packaging could be one. There are a variety of other variable expenses that are up and down. Could be something that is not fixed. It's going to change. So you got packaging at $3 and amounts of units sold. So basically my driver is how much do I know in packaging that I need to buy? Well, it's based upon how much I anticipate in selling. So you see this lovely package up here. They got the little polka dot stuff around it. And as well as if they're going to ship this, there's some more packaging involved. But in this particular case, it's a lovely container around it. So what I'm making an assumption is that if I sell 100 of these a month with that wrapping, that means that I need to buy those sheets to wrap my cupcakes. And if they're $3 per unit and maybe the unit is 5, so that means I already know multiplying that if I'm going to do 100 and I only get 5, then I got to multiply that in time to figure out what my packaging is going to be. This is where your numbers start coming in, and you start making projections based upon what I wanted to say in the beginning. So in the beginning, I already said what I want to sell, how I want to sell, when I want to do this one. So all these numbers are based upon what you want, okay, and what you want to get done. So then you have your fixed costs, non-labor. So that's like rent and everything else that it's fixed. It doesn't change. So my rent is $700 and I know that's monthly. Then I have fixed reoccurring expenses. And I just put Glassdoor up there because that's one website, but there are a whole bunch of websites where you can actually put in the title of whatever that person is, and it'll give you a range of how much they get paid, or you should pay them based upon their experience. So in this particular case, with my cupcake shop, I got the CEO, that's me. I want to make $60,000. Then I got a salesperson that I'm going to do for $48,000. Then I got some call reps, 2 of them, and they're going to be at $36,000. Okay. I want to pay them monthly. And then I've set some dates of hire. So I want to hire, I'm going to start out with me, but then 3 months from there, or 2 months from now, 3 months, I'm going to actually hire a salesperson. And then right after that, in a couple more months, I'm going to hire my first sales rep. And then that next month after, I'm hiring another sales rep. The reason why I'm coming up with these numbers is because I anticipate me as a CEO, I'm going to start it. 3 months later, I'm going to hire a salesperson. So that person is going to focus on trying to sell my product. So they're going to be doing some PR, some social media, and all of that, and getting my brand out. Once they get my brand out and people start either making a request or they know me, as those requests coming in, I need a call rep. I need a rep that says, hi, welcome to Cupcake Shop. How may I take your order or whatever? So as those calls are coming in, just like our coffee guys, that as they're coming in, I have to hire more people to do the back end work. In this particular case, I'm just hiring call reps to take my calls. So by the 5th month, I have one, but I anticipate if this keeps flowing, that following month, I'm going to have to hire another one. Okay. All these are based upon then the actual activity. So if I don't get if the salesperson doesn't drive any business, then I wouldn't hire a call rep at this time. I'm only hiring these individuals based upon the number of calls or sales that I'm getting. So now I got a spreadsheet. I kind of got an idea of how much this is going to cost for labor costs and fixed costs. So you do that, you spread that out. But then projecting the revenue and expenses. So with my revenue or sales forecast, that can be challenging to predict because things change, revenue change, COVID happens, all kinds of stuff happens. So it's hard to predict, but you want to try at the best scenario. That's why you have those variances. You want to do the aggressive, you want to do the kind of moderate, and then you want to do the one that, I might not make it. That's why you need 3 different concepts, so that then when you're making your prediction, you're making a prediction 3 different times based upon what's going to happen. Your revenue doesn't just happen, it's driven. Like I was saying, your revenue has to be based upon a plan. That's why we push you to do a business plan, because now you can get all of this written down. And then when forecasting revenue, it's important to understand the drivers of your revenue. So what's driving the revenue? Is it the salesperson? Because the salesperson is making calls and getting people to know who your brand is. And then people then send you a text message or email, or they see your special that you got. And because of the special, now you're getting calls, and the sales reps, the persons are taking your orders. All of that is driven based upon the request. Okay, so that's how you generate revenue, but that's also how you track revenue to see if you're reaching the goals that we originally started out with. So with my cupcake shop, what am I looking at in revenue and expenses? I'm looking at the salesperson, I'm looking at the marketing, and I want to make sure I'm not going over my time. The number of customers. There's a variety of things I'm looking at as it relates to my expenses, because all of these things are expenses, and also revenue generators. Okay, so again, now you need to sit down when you're doing projections, and I'm talking about assumptions for your projections. You need to make assumptions for a variety of things, variances. So one assumption could be the number of salespeople figures were chosen just by reasoning that the company would begin with one salesperson and will gradually build up the sales force. So that's, like I was saying, the number of salespeople is going to be based upon then that sales force driving more people. So if the sales force, if that one person doesn't bring those numbers in, then I'm not hiring another salesperson. okay? Or I need to get a new salesperson. So that's one assumption. Assumption number two, the average salesperson activity, how much a salesperson sells, is then if they get 20 new customers a month, this number was chosen because the founder was a sales manager in a similar industry. So they had a good idea of how productive a salesperson could be. So that's another assumption based upon history. So even with your businesses, you are doing a business that you're an expert in. So a lot of people say, well, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. Do it based upon what you're an expert in. If you're expert at cooking, you know how to cook, you know how much it costs, you know what you're going to spend in the grocery store, you know how to put a dinner together. So use your expertise for a product and then try to duplicate that product. The assumptions and the variances may change because one day a product might cost one thing, but the next day it's going to cost more or it's going to cost less. But it is your expertise that you're going to use to make these assumptions. Assumption number three, 70% of the customers will buy product number one and 30% will buy product number two. This split was reasoned by looking at public financial statements of a larger competitor. So this is when you look at your industry competitors. So now I got two cupcakes. One is strawberry and the other one is blueberry. So that means now my wrapping is blue, it's not pink polka dots, or it could be. But now I got two products. And my assumption is that if I have two products, 70% of the people really, 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 really love the strawberry one. But if I do another product and it's blueberry, based upon industry, people might not like a lot of blueberry. They love strawberry, they love pineapple, that kind of thing. So I'm going to bring my margin down on that and say, well, only I'll sell 30% of this one and 70% of my key product that I know sells. So when you're pulling this together, you can adjust these numbers, because if you find out that the blueberry is hot and the strawberry is not as hot as the blueberry, that's when you change the numbers and start spending more of your promotion and your time on the blueberry because you're selling it more. So these assumptions, these numbers can change, but that's how you track it monthly or track it quarterly to see where you stand. And then the last assumption is the price of product one will be $10 and the price of product number two will be $40. Well, that's pretty high for a cupcake. But the price points are determined by doing extensive in-store online marketing research and prices. So this is when you ask questionnaires, ask your customers, do you like the strawberry or do you like the blueberry? Are you okay with $10? But if I put a gold wrapper around it and actually put in my mix some gold, whatever they call it, ganache and stuff in there, and it tastes different from my basic, would you pay $40 for my cupcake? So it's when you do the survey analysis, and if somebody says, no, I'm not spending that much on this product for that, then that's how you know, okay, I can't base my product to sell on $40. I got to bring it down to maybe $15. But it's based upon which product is hot and what people are going to pay for it. That's kind of like what Starbucks did. Now, Starbucks, they have their special beans and all that, but still, if you go to Dunkin' Donut, I like Dunkin' Donut. I'll go to Starbucks, but Starbucks is, pretty much their brand is that this is a high-end coffee, and they're selling the experience, not really the coffee. I mean, the coffee's okay, but they're selling the experience. And so even with a Starbucks, they can go up and charge you $10 for a special drink. Whereas if I go to McDonald's and kind of get that mix, I spend, $2.50, $3. Okay, so they can mark that up. Why? Because of the branding and competition and talking to customers and all of that. Because if a customer doesn't buy it, then you either got to come down on the price or take it off the menu, or either just have it as a special one because maybe some of your clients will buy it. Okay. So assumptions. So after you kind of made some veritable assumptions, then you go back to that spreadsheet and figure out, okay, in writing, this is what I'm assuming. Now let's see it in numbers, because everybody works differently. Some people can actually look at paragraphs and figure that thing out. Some people actually need an Excel spreadsheet or some kind of table so they can visually see it. It's according to if you left brain, right brain, creative, you know, whatever. So here's the layout of what we just talked about in our assumptions, that the number of salespeople. So I know that for January and February, it's just going to be one salesperson. But in March, I'm actually going to have two, because that means I'm going to hire somebody, because that means my sales are going up to hire somebody. But then by April, then I'm going to have three. And then by May, I'm going to have a total of 6, so forth. So when you do these assumptions, you do this and lay it out visually, now you can see average of sales productivity. Now, we had mentioned if one salesperson gets 20 customers, my anticipation is that one person, they'll get 20 customers in January, and then they'll go and get another 20 in February. But then now I have 2 salespeople in March. That means each one of those are getting 20. So my average sale is that I'm expecting my salespeople to get 20 customers each month. Okay, so this is how we can kind of tally up our productivity. Then that's how we can tally up the number of customers. Because if one salesperson is getting 20 customers in January, and then that same salesperson is getting 20 customers in February, but now I got 2 salespersons and they're each getting 20, you can see how you can project potentially how many customers I'll have if the salespeople are actually meeting the goals. Okay, so you want to be able to lay this out. We talked about the percentage. My cupcakes, really 70% of my customers are going to buy the strawberry, but only 30% are going to do the blueberry. So now I can lay this out, not in a paragraph form, but now I can lay it out in a table form. And you can kind of then be able to see, based upon just some of what's happening with your sales and so forth, what your total sales dollar amounts are going to look like. So what I've just shared with you is what Ray has been sharing with you, and what you'll be learning and going through, if you haven't already, is your 3 financial statements. So these are the 3 common ones. You'll see them all the time. You have your income statement, your cash flow statement, and your balance sheet statement. Notice that they're all interconnected, okay? Which means that each one of them reflect the other one. There's some numbers coming from one to the other. They just have different breakdowns. Income statement, what you're getting, the income, how the income is flowing within the business. Your cash flow, how much money's going in, how much money's coming out. Balance sheet, what does that look like per month? You know, what am I looking like every month? Okay, so know that the financial statements, they work together. So that if one number's off, that means everything else gonna be off. So you always have to check, look at your statements, and make sure everything is making sense. So income statement, it measures your profitability over a period of time. So that's either monthly, quarterly, yearly. So profitability, what does that mean? That's revenue minus expenses. So my revenue is this, minus my expenses, that's my profit. Okay, so my profit, $2,500, my expenses is $2,000. What's then my profitability would be the 2,000 minus the 25. Oops, sorry. So what is my profitability? So understanding this, that my revenue minus my expenses then tells me what my profit is. Okay, so you have to do this in each one of these statements. That's what it's asking you. Then you got cash flow, reports the cash generated and is used over a period of time, again, monthly, quarterly, yearly. So this statement allows you to understand how much cash is left in the bank at the end of each given month. So key thing is in bold, never run out of cash, okay? So that's why you need to have a cash flow statement so that you don't get at a place where you're like, oh, I don't have any money, okay? Well, you should have been kind of tracking to see what you were spending. So, you know, you can look at this analogy. You can live a while without food, but you can't live without air, okay? So you gotta make sure that you have cash and you have a cash flow. No cash flow, no business, okay? Then your balance sheet. The balance sheet displays your company's assets, liabilities, your shareholder equity. These are the things you will see. So this is just some terminology that you need to at least know the basics. Assets, that's what a company owns, what you own. The liability is what the company owes. You got a loan, you owe it, that's a liability. And then shareholder equity, that's investments from other people. So people are saying, you know, hey, Rodney, I'm going to give you $10,000 and I'm going to invest in your company. And if I got some kind of thing that says, but within 3 years, I want my investment back plus a percentage. Okay, so now you got my $10,000 shareholder equity that goes on my spreadsheet, okay, my balance sheet, because now I'm able to see how much money is mine, how much money is my shareholders, how much asset I have, because I got a building, a house, whatever, and then my liabilities. What are my liabilities? Meaning that what loans and stuff I got to pay people off, okay? So the total dollar amount value of your assets must equal the sum of your total liabilities and your total shareholder. So now you can figure out, how do you figure out the assets? Take your liabilities plus your shareholder equity, and that will give you your assets, okay? This PowerPoint is on the portal, so you can always go back and look at it again in more detail. So as I was telling you, that was kind of like a crash course. So if you have questions, you need to go through it with us just to understand it. But when people talk about projections, sometimes they're thinking, wow, I got to do all these spreadsheets, figure out these numbers. The first thing you do when you do projections is your assumptions, your goals, you write that out. So, and you saw how they did it. They wrote it out first. So any of you, whatever your business is, and you want to show what you want it to look like in 3 months, 6 months, a year, however you want to span it out. But what are those goals? You know, and the first thing you can say is, by the end of this year, I want to at least profit $5,000. That's a small amount, but which means that how do I get to the 5? Okay, I already know what I got to buy. I already know what I got to put together. I already know the campaign, the marketing that I have to do. So that's when you start breaking that stuff out, because if I want $5,000 by the end of the year, that's profit. That means I got to figure out what my expenses are, and then figure out how I'm going to build the revenue to pay off the expenses, and then still have the 5,000 left as a profit, gross margin, as Ray talked about. So these things, you sit down, as I shared last week, get a blank sheet of paper and a pen, and just don't worry about the spreadsheet right now, because that's going to all come together when you start writing this stuff out, just like you saw today. Get a sheet of paper and a pen and write this out. Draw maps, charts, whatever you need to do, and then take that information and then put it into your spreadsheets, because it's going to make it a little bit easier. If you're sitting there trying to figure out the financial terminology, everything, okay, what's this, what's that, it may throw you off, especially if you don't understand the terminology. So just write out what you want. What is your goal for the rest of this year? And that's only a couple of months. So you might not have a lot of goals, but what's your goal for next year? What's your goal for the next 6 months? Do you want to make some money? Do you want to get started? How many customers do you want? And really you look at how much money I want to make. So if I know I want to make next year $10,000 profit after expenses, that means how am I going to get to the 10? That means I need clients that's going to cover me. So it covers my expenses. It covers everything else I have, so that after I've sold my product and paid my bills, I got $10,000 by the end of the year. So what helps you in that is knowing then how many customers you need. Because if you need $10,000, it helps you figure out, you know what, I need at least 200, 300 customers a year, or within that year, in order for me to make my $10,000 profit. Okay, so just wanted to share that. That is on the portal. Pull that down, look at it over and over again, study it, try to do it yourself. So use that PowerPoint to write out your own assumptions and see how that works for you. And if you need help, we can help you fill in numbers and so forth. Okay, so any questions of what we went over? It was quick, but hey, okay, go ahead, Rodney.
So I went to well, so is Wesley. We went through work with Rodney Brown from the West Side, and so this is a good refresher. So I got to just get back in there. But the other thing, there's a very successful group, our producer friend of mine, the one who's doing the churches. He's coming over Sunday, and my cousin who's in finance. They're coming over to help me with my numbers. Cool. You know, like charging different lines of service, paying myself all. I'm gonna get those two heads because I'm gonna be ready for next Tuesday. So
right.
over, I'm feeding them. There's gonna be adult beverages. We're gonna get some work.
There you go.
So there we go.
There you go. That I always say, if you need to get and glean from other people, and I always share this with our clients and our students, that if you want to get some from somebody, just throw a party. Yeah. And I know it's COVID, but hey, check everybody at the door, do the temperature check, make everybody wear a mask, and cook them some food, give them some beverages, and just people talk a lot when they're eating.
Yes.
So when you at a restaurant, you get to talking and all that. People talk a lot, so just let them talk, and you take notes. You know, so as questions come up, then they can answer them for you.
The other thing, very quickly, I had my projections going from November, starting from, October, but I think I'm going to keep doing business, but I think I'm going to move it to January so that I can use this as, how did Ray put it, on the ground? How did Ray put it?
The here and now?
The here and now. So I think I'm going to start from January, and just whatever I make, use that for my.
Yeah, I'm going to get a t-shirt. I'm going to make a t-shirt. I'm going to patent it or whatever, and it's going to say here and now. I'm going to sell Ray's thing. And also, by the way, this is one of my students. She started Vision Wear. I thought she was going to do t-shirts. She ended up selling glasses. So she works with a third party, and she sells all these designer glasses. And she's doing very well online because she has a website up. You can go purchase the frame, and then if you have the prescription, they'll put a prescription in, or you just buy the frame if you don't wear glasses. But she started, it's called Vision Wear. And she took our business plan bootcamp class and doing very good. Okay. Any other questions? Because, we went a little longer last week, Tuesday, but any questions, any thoughts about what we shared with you today? Nope. Okay. Well, we're almost done. Okay. So we got a couple more weeks and that's it. And we'll still be here to coach you and advise you and that kind of thing. But at least hopefully some of this information you can apply. I will send you the link to the Google video so you can see those on your own, and hopefully they can be inspiration to you. And then also just make sure any questions you have, anything you need, make sure you're reaching out to us. If you've looked at the service scholarship ones, fill out that form if you want some free services. Okay, so this is free consulting services to help you do some stuff. So if you want that, if you don't want it, that's fine. I give it to other people that, you know, want it. But make sure you fill out the form. We need you to click on that link, fill out that form so I can start engaging my consultant so that he knows what projects are coming up. Okay? All right. All minds clear?
Yeah, I think.
You good, Maria?
I know I'm not, but you know, it's going to be okay because I can't get to that portal. I don't have anything in my portal. Nothing.
Oh, with the platform?
Yeah.
Okay, let me resend the link because a couple people had a problem with trying to get into the platform. So I'll send you the link so you can get back in.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Anybody else? Everybody's good?
I had a quick question in regards to where to find the scholarship you were mentioning again.
I'll send you the link. It's actually a form that you need to fill out.
Okay.
So when you click on the link, it'll take you straight to our form. You fill out the form and send it back, and then we'll get notification that you fill out the form. So I'll send out the link to the platform again. I'll send out the link to the service scholarship and anything else. I know a couple people want industry reports, so I'll send those out to you. So you'll
Right.
have all of that over the weekend.
Right. Industry and portal.
Yep.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll do that. And then next week, it's Ria's turn. All right, Ria. So this is our guru for social media and all that kind of stuff and branding and all. She gonna give you all of that. And that's key, especially when you start wanting people to know who you are. So you gotta know how to do that the right way so you can get out there and let people know that I exist. Okay. So Ria will be next week and we'll go through that. That final week, I'm asking people to get ready to do a pitch online. So I want you to pitch your business to us online. I'm gonna invite a couple other people on so that we can kind of just talk about it. We're not judging anybody or anything like that. We want you to get comfortable pitching. So you did the elevator pitch. Now we're gonna actually do a 3-minute pitch at those last classes. So get online if you got props, you got green screens and all of that, whatever you want to do, we want you to pitch and we're going to send you some worksheets on how to pitch. Okay. So get ready for that last week. So don't get scared. I don't want to scare you off. Keep going. It's going to 1 week left. And then we'll do the pitch and give you out so make sure you do the live plan. That's the only way I can give you the service scholarships. So you got to at least go in there and work on it, okay? And then also, Wes got some books from our last class and Maria, so we're taking care of the scholarships and some books that we're sending out for you that are getting shipped directly to your home. So we're doing all that again for this cohort. Okay, any other thoughts, questions? Okay, great. So you guys have a great evening. And we'll see you on Tuesday, but I'll make sure I get all those links to you by tomorrow.
All right. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Right.